Hello and welcome to Learn Web Dev. Today we will be building a countdown timer, which will look like this. You have your hours, your minutes, your seconds, and some input fields where you can type in numbers, not letters. Or you can just press this button to increase it. For example, let's set it to this, and you can see it will start counting down. If you press reset and, for example, press 2 minutes, it will work. If you reset and press, for example, 1 hour, it will jump down to 60 minutes and then 95 minutes and count down the seconds. So let's build it. Alright, so let's start building this countdown timer. So first you need to create your basic HTML structure. I will change the title to countdown timer and create a div inside the body tag with the ID container, which is what I usually do for this project. You can name this whatever you want. Just keep in mind that you named it like this. Then I need a p tag with the ID hour label, which is for the hour label. We can also give it the class label because we will need more labels, and type in hours. So then we need another p with the ID minute label or min label, and also the class label. Type in minute or minutes. Then we need another another p tag with the ID sec label with the class label, and inside this we will type in seconds. So next we need the input fields for the hours, minutes and seconds. So first we will do the hour label. The type will be number. The maximum number you can type in there will be 99. Or not type in there, but increased with the buttons. And the min will be 0. We will set the value to 0 and also give it a class of time. Alright, next we will put in a p tag for the semicolon. I will call this p1, the class will be semicolon, and just for this symbol, so we can actually see that it's hours, minutes and seconds and not just some random numbers. So then we can actually just copy all of this and paste it in here. We will say minute instead of hour and set the max to 60 because there are only 60 minutes in an hour. So, and then we can copy this p semicolon, copy it here, call it PID2 because the ID is kind of important for setting the grid later, but you can also just do it with the class, but you would have 2 separate classes then, so you need IDs, I guess. And then you can copy all of this again and do the same for the seconds. And 60 can stay because there are 60 seconds in a minute. Alright, then we need the buttons. So button ID start, class will be button because we will have another button. So just copy all of this, set the ID to reset and the text also to reset. Then the only thing left is getting the style sheet and the JavaScript file, which we will put at the bottom of our body tag, src main.js, and there we have it. So if we check how this looks, it will look like this, but only because I have all of the styles already inside of here. I don't know if I should always explain all the styling, because after all, it's a JavaScript tutorial, so I think we should just go on with the JavaScript. But if you want to know more about all of this, I will later in the future make a tutorial about grid, flexbox, and yeah, just positioning in itself. So it can also look like this, or not like this, but so you can set your positioning as you like and not have to rely on something ugly, even though this is ugly, but I mean something even more uglier. But we can just go over the style CSS fast. So this h1 tag is not here. So the background color height is probably pretty simple. Then the container, we just set the height to 200 pixels and width to 700 pixels. The background color is this one, and I set a border just so, I don't know, for looks. I know it doesn't look really good, but then we just set the display to grid, create a template column with 5 columns, each is 1 fraction wide, and the same for the rows. We will create 3 rows with one being 1 fraction high. So you can see this when I press on this little button, grid. That's why I always use Mozilla Firefox, because with other browsers it isn't as easy as with Mozilla. So here you see these grids. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns and 3 grids, and they all are the same size. That's why I choose the FR thing. Yes, and then I just created some classes for the label. For example, this one, so it's in the center, as I said here, with justified self-center, aligned self-center. So the vertical center, the vertical position is also centered, the horizontal, the font size, and this is just for all of the labels. And I just created an ID so I can set the proper grid area to these labels, so they will appear here. As you can see, grid area, first row. So my hour label is in the first row. This is the first row. In the second column, 1 column, second column, and it stays in the first row, and it spans to the third column. So it's from here to here, even though I probably could remove this one and just keep it in the second column. Would this work? It would still work. So this was probably for some testing which I did, but this will probably work too. Yes. This is just the positioning and the labels. Then I have the times. This is also the class. I just set it all to center. Have a border of none, so this input field default styling is gone, with the white background and a border. The border is none. Background color is set to black, but it's actually no, to white, and the opacity is pulled all the way down, so it's invisible. Font size 50 pixel, width 70 pixel, height 50 pixel. And this is just for the hour, the minute, and the seconds. Also I have the styling class for my p tags, for the semicolon. And down below are the buttons, just the simple styling and where I set the grid area. Alright, now let's start with the JavaScript. So as you can see, we can increase all of this, and let's just see if it actually stops at 60. Yes, it stops at 60. This will probably too stop at 60. But I mean, if you don't use these, you can obviously set whatever number you want. This is, for example, this number. Well, so you can just set whatever number you want, but just go to 60 because it's kind of logical. Why? Yes, so, and of course nothing works. If I type in 1 and press start, nothing happens. That's why we will start with the JavaScript now. Okay, so first I want to get the start and reset button. We do this by typing document, or first declaring a variable with var start, setting this variable to document.getElementById, and choosing the ID we typed into here, which is this one. Then the same for reset. We do the same. Again, get the ID which you set for your button. And there we have it, we have the buttons. Now we will get the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. also again, just get the element document get element by ID, and the ID you gave your input fields, this one, which is hour, minute, and sec. So just copy this again, bam bam, minute and sec. Whoops, sec. And this is all the variables we need. Now we can start. So first I will create the event listener. So start.add event listener. So we will add an event listener to our start button. So every time we will click, the button will recognize it and do something. And just for testing it, we will just type in console log hello. Let's try it. Open the console, press on start, and you can see we have gotten hello in the console. It's still going. You just have to press it enough times and the number will go up. It won't show as separate lines, so don't worry, it's still working after you clicked one time. And inside this one we will put in the function to start the timer. So let's put this down a bit, and first I need to create a variable, store a reference to the variable. So this is from Stack Overflow. So I had some issues with this project, but I could get it to work. So just create first a variable with the name start time or start timer and set it to null. So set it to nothing, I guess. And then we will create the function which actually counts down. And this was also tricky. Oh my fucking god, why? Timer. Okay, and the thing is, oh, function timer. Oh wait, let's also create the event listener for the reset button. Function, why am I always writing it this way? There we have it. And let's first create the function for the reset timer. So function stop timer, and this is pretty easy. We will just clear the we will just type in clear interval and setting it to start timer, because we will save the function to this variable. And every time we press on the, holy fuck, I wrote it again. What's wrong? Is it the fourth time already? Every time I've wrote it, I've written it wrong. Okay, never mind. But yes, every time we press the every time we press the reset button, it will start this function, which will just clear the interval of start timer. Okay, so to start the timer, we will create a function inside the event listener to initialize the variable start timer in this case. We do this by typing in function start interval, for example. You can name this whatever you want. And setting start timer to set interval function timer. So this timer function, we will start, wait, let's just finish this one, comma 1000 milliseconds. So what happens now is every time we press the start button, it will start the function start interval, which calls this variable, and inside this variable we have this interval function stored. So, and this interval function will call the timer function, this one, every second. I don't know if this is clear, but I will leave some links and info in the description. But let's create the wait, the reset isn't finished yet. We have to set the h value to 0, the m value to 0, and the s value to 0. This just means that every time we press on reset, the timer will jump to 0. I think we can even test this. So let's just type 5, 30 seconds and 20 seconds. If I press start, nothing happens. If I press reset, it jumps to 0, and you can just type in a new number. So this works, great. And let's start with the actual timer function. So to do this, we will type the first if statement. So if the hour value equals 0, this is just so he won't start like this. If I would have pressed start, it will count down. It would go -1. I mean, we can try it in a second, or we can try it yet, I guess. But yeah, if, for example, s dot value does not equal 0, or wait, that's just wait, s value minus. So you can see what I mean. When I start now, press on start, nothing happens. Why? No one knows. Function timer s value. Oh, because I also have to call this function when I press on the button. I think now it should work. Start. Yes. See, it goes down to minus whatever, and if I just press start now, it will also go to minus. So we first need to set a statement so he won't count down if everything is set to 0. And we do this by typing in if hour.value equals 0. So when the hour value is 0, and this is and, so if this is 0 and the minute value is 0 and the second value is 0, then just set everything to 0. So nothing happens. It will stay 0 because it's already set to 0. If it's all 0 and you press on the button, it will stay on 0. But now you can type in else if s.value does not equal 0, s.value minus. So I think I first have to explain the value thing. So every time you have an input field, for example, this one, this is an input field, and you can set the value to 0. So every time I'm calling this variable, which I get with document get element by ID, I can also say .value, and then I can say, for example, wait, console log s. You can see 0. If I do this again, but with 4, oh no, I have to first do this. It's 4 because it was at 4. So what this does now is it asks for the value which is right now inside this input field. So you can also set the value by typing in s.value equals 100, for example. You see, this is a 100. So you can also set the value of input fields. And this is what I'm essentially doing. I'm just asking if the value is 0, blah, 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 set it to 0. This is also what I do here. Press the reset button and everything will be set to 0. So I hope this is clear. If not, I will also link something in the description, our input fields and the DOM manipulation, all of this stuff. But let's go back to our timer. So he's asking, is everything 0? If yes, then set everything to 0. But if, for example, the seconds value is not a 0, so this means if the input field is everything else but 0, do this. So what happens if I press start? Nothing will happen. But if I, for example, type in 4 or 5 because it's not 0, he will start counting down, as you can see. And he will also stop at 0. So this is what it does, because it's checking, is s value 0? Okay, then stop. Now we can also set the same thing for the minute value, but you have to watch out. So if minute value is 0, then if minute value is 0 and second dot value equals 0, then, so this means, what this means is, if minute value is not 0, but second value is 0, so if the minute is, for example, 6 and seconds is 0, what should happen? Of course, the s value needs to be set to 59 and 95. 59? 59, sorry. In Germany, all these numbers are scrambled. I'm always getting kinda confused, but yes. So what this does is it's asking, is minute value not a 0? So is minute value everything else but a 0? And is s value 0? Then set the second value to 59 and set the minute value to minus minus. This is just decrementing. So if there's a number and you type in minus minus, it will just decrement by 1. It's almost the same as equals minus 1. No, it's not the same. This just means, for example, if the minute is 10 and this is called, it will go to 9. So, and what this does now is, if it sees, okay, the second, for example, if 4 seconds are left, it will go to 3, 2, 1, 0, and then this condition will jump in and ask, okay, is 6 not 0? Yes. Is seconds 0? Yes. Then set seconds to 59 seconds and decrement the minutes by 1. So this is 1 minute, which we just did. You can see this working by setting to 2, and you can see it jumps to 59 and the minute decrements by 1. So we just have to do the same now for the hour value. So, and now just don't look, try it yourself, because this is the best way to learn. Just don't copy everything I do. Try to think of it yourself. Maybe stop the tutorial and just try something which seems right, and if it isn't right, nice try, you've tried it. You know that this isn't the way, and you can just learn it from this tutorial, because this one is a bit different than this one. So you can't just copy all of this. You can almost not copy all of this, but it's pretty similar. So let's start. Set the h value to not equal 0. So h value does not equal 0, and of course the minute value should equal 0. So as you already know, if hour is 1 and minutes is 0, so this means it probably counted down already from maybe 4 minutes to 3, 2, 1, 0. Then the hour needs to be decremented by 1, and minutes set to 59 and seconds also set to 59. So a new hour starts and count down. Oh fuck. Okay. So, but there's one thing which we need to discuss. But first, let's set it to first 59 and h value to decrement. Also just set it to return, so the function stops if it was already called. And let's start it. So if I set it to 1 hour, you can see this is kind of weird, right? Because it's called down already the minutes by 1 whole minute. So how could you fix this? See, when I press, or we can do it like this. Look at the minutes, exactly what happens. 2, 1, 0, 95 minutes, 59 minutes, and then 58. Why is it doing this? I have no idea. Probably because it's calling the 59 seconds and then just setting the minute value, decrementing the minute value by 1 because the minute value was also 0. I don't know, but you can just fix it by typing in 60 minutes and trying it again. 60 minutes, it counts down 1, so 59 minutes, and then it just normally counts down the seconds to the next minute. So this works. We can also kinda help. 3, 2, 1, and you can see 58 minutes, and the minute starts again from 59. And that's it. So I think this was everything. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if this tutorial helped you and you want to see more. Also check the description for the source code, my other tutorials and some additional information.